What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to Logical, Plausible, Probable. In this video, I'm going to be discussing a very serious new discovery in the side effects of the Atheist Fantasyland projection complex, and if this new condition prevents atheists from actually requiring their conclusions to be logical, plausible, and probable. Now, before we get into it, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to click the bell icon if you actually want to get notified when new videos go live. Subscribing is no longer enough here on YouTube with the new algorithm. So it's been a couple of months since I've done a video like this one, so for those of you who haven't seen my last couple, I did videos on the symptoms of the Atheist Fantasyland projection complex, and another on how to trigger an atheist who is suffering from AFL-PC. Links to both of these are in the description. Also, if you're wondering why I'm doing this video in my car, I'm actually getting ready to move and have been ridiculously busy, so I decided to be inspired by the awesome Viva Frey vlog and try out this whole car option. Now, since the release of the videos in question, the number of diagnosed cases has literally gone through the roof. Hundreds have been found just via comments, tweets, and emails, and it turns out that AFL-PC is more common with YouTube atheists than any other demographic subset of the atheist community. In fact, further examination of this projection complex has led to the discovery of several more conditions, the first of which will be being covered in this video. Now, this very serious issue that's been discovered is called the DROID C, which stands for Desperate Rejection of Intelligent Design Condition. This is an extremely contagious mental state and often leads to another problem I will be covering in another video, which is called ANOGS, or the Atheist Naturalism of the Gaps Syndrome. But let's get back to diving into what is indicative of the DROID C. Now, the reason this is such a newly recognized condition is normal people didn't think anyone could actually believe some of the foundational symptoms of this condition. So, for example, atheists suffering from DROID C will aggressively argue that it is impossible to use deduction and induction to reach a conclusion about intelligent agency being required for life to exist. However, the same individuals making this claim dogmatically insist it can be accepted with a zero faith requirement, that life exists through purely undirected processes which have never been observed, and have mountains of evidence and observed reasons which indicate the literal opposite of their conclusion. However, since their APAs, or atheist propaganda agents, loudly insist there is general consensus for all of their talking points, anyone suffering from DROID C is likely to immediately refuse any rational dialogue and dogmatically argue humans aren't capable of design inferences. Now, for a quick sidebar on this borderline moronic talking point, if your argument is that a puddle of water wouldn't be able to tell if the hole it's in was custom made or just fits it perfectly, therefore, humans also can't tell if something is designed because we're just part of the universe.
And so there's a really good quote, which I'm going to read you because it's so good. It's my absolute favorite ever discussing this notion of fine-tuning. And it's, of course, from Douglas Adams. And on the subject of fine-tuning, this is rather as if you imagine a puddle waking up one morning and thinking, this is an interesting world I find myself in, an interesting hole I find myself in. Fits me rather neatly, doesn't it? In fact, it fits me staggeringly well. Must have been made to have me in it. This is such a powerful idea that as the sun rises in the sky and the air heats up, and as gradually the puddle gets smaller and smaller, frantically hanging on to the notion that everything's going to be all right because this world was meant to have him in it, was built to have him in it, so the moment he disappears catches him rather by surprise. I think this may be something we need to be on the watch for.
Yeah, so I'm sorry if you don't have the personal confidence in your intellectual capacity to reach a conclusion on what is evidence of intelligent agency. But if you're that stupid, why are you even talking? Why do you even come out and make arguments online and publicly if you're actually that dumb? Seriously, stop embarrassing yourself. It sucks that you're this big of an idiot, but just because you are doesn't mean I am, or everyone who disagrees with you is lacking in the ability to reach a conclusion. At this point, it's obvious you've either got DROID C and AFLPC, or you're stupid. Either way, try to come up with something better than, "You're wrong because I'm too stupid to see the obvious." Honestly, it's dumb. And yeah, I'm talking to you, Matt Dillahunty.
This is rather as if you imagine a puddle waking up one morning and thinking, this is an interesting world I find myself in.
And to all the atheists who idolize Dillahunty, the dude proclaims that we should personify water in a hole with consciousness.
And so there's a really good quote, which I'm going to read you because it's so good. It's my absolute favorite.
Now, going back to DROID C, I've got to address the "that's not what Wikipedia says" defense. This one blows my mind, and it very often dovetails with the "I'm not an expert, therefore your argument is false" escape mechanism. You know, what's really ironic about this is individuals suffering from DROID C often throw sources referenced on Wikipedia up as their, the ultimate proof of their talking point. But when you ask if they've actually read any of these supposed sources for themselves, either they pivot to the "I'm not an expert" escape, or just admit that they haven't. What makes this even more ridiculous is when you then present direct peer-reviewed sources in real time, which undermine their position, you gotta be prepared, because this often just triggers an atheist fantasyland projection complex meltdown, and things can get pretty ugly. Live stream rage quitting is very, very common in these instances. That said, even if they continue the interaction, the level of desperate rejection often results in face palms, pivots to something about slavery in the Bible, or accusations that you're just being super mean. Of course, for people like me, this sort of thing is fascinating to observe, as it both provides new evidence for the conditions I've identified and enables me to realize, wow, these people really don't have a clue. Another quick sidebar: after you've presented evidence that they can't handle and you see signs of DROID C flaring up, an excellent trigger tactic is to help accomplish a forced mental reboot. And to accomplish that, you just have to say,
"Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?"
Now at this point, either they have to admit they do not comprehend but are rejecting the evidence, and you can force them to justify the rejection, or they must admit they don't have a clue what this means and therefore can be showcased as uninformed idiots who desperately cling to the "I don't know" defense. But these same people are the ones who refuse to go out and actually find out for themselves if it's something they can reach a conclusion about. Seriously, how atheists and agnostics run around claiming they don't know but refuse to actually become informed. It just proves beyond doubt that DROID C and AFLPC are actual mental conditions. Now, the last indication of DROID C I'm going to cover in this video is refusal to accept spatio-temporal variables are indicators of intelligent agency. Honestly, this one just blows me away every time and makes me seriously wonder if atheists and agnostics have serious cognitive defects beyond just things like DROID C and AFLPC. I mean, come on, people. In what rational universe does it make sense that functions which have space and time-based requirements in order to work can somehow exist without foreknowledge of the end objective being required? It's like saying the process which results in gasoline being created out of petroleum has no relevance to the existence of the internal combustion engine, nor must it exist prior to the demand for an engine to exist, then doubling down on that stupidity and claiming they don't both have to exist at the same time. And if you respond with, "Cars aren't a good analogy because they don't reproduce," let me be direct. You're an idiot with hardcore DROID C. If a car-producing factory somehow managed to start replicating itself, and you say that didn't require a high level of IQ to happen, well, all I've got to say is congrats on being proof that devolution is a real thing. So to recap, DROID C, which stands for Desperate Rejection of Intelligent Design Condition, is a secondary issue which is usually caused by an acute case of AFLPC, the Atheist Fantasyland Projection Complex. Some common symptoms of this condition are aggressive rejection of induction and deduction, dogmatic insistence, everything is possible through undirected process, personification of things like water, extreme reliance on consensus, refusal to personally validate talking points, rejection of anything which counters Wikipedia, utilization of personal ignorance as a defense. Now, obviously, there's more symptoms of this condition, and I hope you will make sure to put additional issues you've identified in the comments below, and please make sure to share this video with your friends so we can help raise awareness of this very significant issue. After all, DROID C is preventing atheists and most agnostics from engaging in rational thought and truly being able to contemplate something as significant as the requirements for their very existence. Now it's starting to rain, so that's it for this video. Make sure to like the video, and if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, if you want to get notified for videos like this one, debates and after shows, make sure to subscribe and click the little bell icon. But most importantly, as you consider the reasons for your existence, don't surrender to the propaganda and make sure that your conclusions are logical, plausible, and probable.